What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since '03 and eager to see this team getting back to playing winning basketball. In today's video, we will be doing a season preview for Paul Reed. On this channel, we have and will continue to do season previews for every player on the Pistons roster. We started with the youngest, we're working our way up to the oldest. Today, we are landing on B-Ball Paul. In these videos, we typically go over how they performed last year, 3 strengths to expect from the player in the upcoming season, 1 weakness to expect, a swing skill, and then predict where they will be at in the rotation. So we'll waste no time and get straight into it and talk about B-Ball Paul's previous year. So to backtrack just a little bit, since Paul Reed is a new Piston, he was drafted in 2020 at the very end of the draft with the 58th pick. He has spent 4 years in Philadelphia, sometime in the G League. He actually won a G League MVP. Most recently, in the most previous season, he saw the most opportunity that he had seen in his career, especially since Joel Embiid spent a lot of time injured. Last year, he averaged 7 points per game to go along with 6 rebounds and 1 block. He played in all 82 games, starting 24 of those, averaging 20 minutes a night. He was 54% from the field and 37% from 3. So 3 strengths to expect from B-Ball Paul this upcoming year. The first one to kick things off is going to be his energy and disruptiveness. Now, B-Ball Paul is definitely touted as an energy big by textbook definition. If you looked up modern day energy bench big in the NBA dictionary, B-Ball Paul Reed would be the poster boy for that term. He definitely plays with a lot of passion, a lot of grit, gets it out the mud, hard worker, high motor, all of those things that you typically expect to see from players with those terms. He embodies it and is it to a T. Now, being a Detroit Pistons fan, I feel like that fits really well with our identity as a historical franchise, all about working hard, energy, all of that type of stuff. So I think that's going to be a welcomed addition onto our team. The next thing is going to be his switchability and slight ability for rim protection. The reason why I say slight ability for rim protection is because he's not the most incredible rim protector in the NBA. Matter of fact, he actually is slightly undersized for a big, but we don't really have any rim protectors on our team at this stage, at least high-level ones. So his 1 block per game and only 20 minutes per night is actually pretty welcomed. Outside of that, on defense, he is pretty switchable. He can switch onto a wing for a few seconds if he needs to. You're not going to see him step out on the best point guards in the league like Damian Lillard or something and absolutely shut them down, but he can switch if needed onto some bigger wings, and that is a good sign for his defense overall. So realistically, his defensive versatility and slight ability to protect the rim is also going to be a really welcome addition onto our team. The third strength to touch on is going to be his rebounding. Now, last year he did average 6 rebounds per game and less than 20 minutes per night. That's pretty impressive. But most importantly, that came along with 2.5 offensive rebounds, which I personally find to be more valuable than a defensive rebound. So overall, quite a few strengths to expect from B-Ball Paul. But to talk about a few weaknesses, we'll hop right to that. First weakness is going to be his fouling. So fouling has always been a bit of a problem for Paul Reed in the NBA. During his collective time in the NBA in his 4 seasons, per 36 minutes, he averages 5.2 fouls per game. So realistically, over Paul Reed's course of his career, he's perpetually in foul trouble if he plays extended minutes. Do I think this is the biggest worry in the world? Not exactly, especially because I don't project him to be the type of guy who's going to be playing the type of minutes to constantly be in foul trouble. But there also is some other good signs as well about this. It has came down quite a bit since his rookie year. Last year, he averaged 4.5 fouls per 36 minutes, which is still a lot and definitely worthy of being listed as a weakness. But that number is less than what it was during his rookie and sophomore year. So to talk about his swing skill, it's going to be overall his polish and just basketball IQ. I have spoken to a few Sixers fans, and most of them are huge fans of Paul Reed. He's almost like a walking meme and a legend to these dudes. So they all love the guy. But the moral of the story when talking to Sixers fans about Paul Reed is that he'll give you a couple good plays where you're so excited because he out-hustled somebody, scrapped for a loose ball, got a crazy block or something along those lines. But for every one or two of those plays, you're also going to get a play where he is just completely lost on the offensive end or has a defensive lap and is not in the right place at the right time defensively. So there's going to be a lot to improve on, and especially considering that it's Paul Reed's 5th year in the league, you do have to wonder how far that can actually come around at this point. But if his IQ and polish is able to improve in Detroit, I think that we're looking at a guy who is definitely going to be a valuable rotation player for us in the future. Now, to predict where he will be at in the rotation, this one is a little bit of a tricky one. I'm going to go ahead and predict that he'll get that 20 minutes per night that he got in Philadelphia last year, if not more. And I think that 20 minutes a night is going to be on the low end, especially considering our lack of depth at the big spot. As of right now, the only true bona fide bigs on our roster are Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart, and Paul Reed. Isaiah Stewart is a bit undersized. Paul Reed, also a bit undersized. And outside of those three, I don't think we have any true bigs on our roster. Once you start going down the list, below those guys, Tobias Harris, Simone Fontecchio, guys that can slot in at the 4, but definitely take up no minutes at the 5. So I do think there will be ample opportunity for Paul Reed to get on the court this year. How much more than his 20 minutes a night he got in Philadelphia will just be based entirely on his play on the court and his swing skill that we mentioned, his overall awareness, b-ball IQ, polish, all of that type of stuff. How well he gels within our system, all of that. So overall, I'm really excited to see what Paul Reed can do for this team. I also do want to mention that he did show a little bit of ability to shoot the basketball last year. Not enough that I was willing to put it down as a strength for Paul Reed, but last year he did shoot 37% from 3 on relatively low volume. His overall efficiency was 21 makes on 57 attempts. So he was shooting roughly 1 a game realistically at 37%. So not the type of guy that you can expect to be planned out a shot for or popping off of screens looking for looks on threes. But if defenses do choose to completely ignore him, leave him alone to go crash in and help in the paint on Ivy or Cade or whoever's driving, you can expect them to be able to kick the ball out to him and let it fly. And it probably won't be a horrific event if that does happen once a night or possibly twice per game. I'm definitely looking forward to what Paul Reed can do. I think that there's a lot of things about him and his game that a lot of people in Detroit will appreciate and enjoy to be able to watch, just as high motor, all of that type of stuff, his grittiness, is all stuff that is a part of the Pistons culture. So I do think that there's a lot to look forward to. Let me know what you guys think of Paul Reed, what you expect from him in the upcoming season, and we'll talk soon.